You know that feeling? You wake up and there they are. A few small, red, incredibly itchy bites, and you just can't figure out what on earth got you. We blame spiders, we blame mystery allergies. Well, today we're going to solve that little mystery for good.
So what is the tiny culprit behind that classic breakfast, lunch, and dinner pattern of bites that can drive you absolutely mad? It's not just a passing annoyance. It's actually a sign that you've crossed paths with an ancient parasite, one that's been our unwelcome travel buddy for thousands of years. Let's meet it.
Here it is, Pulex irritans. And no, this isn't just any old flea, this is the human flea. In a way, it's a specialist that has evolved right alongside us. I mean, just look at this thing. It's perfectly designed for its job. It's flattened side to side so it can zip through hair, and it's got those powerful legs for some serious jumping.
All right, so to really get a handle on how to deal with this pest, you first have to know your enemy, right? We need to get to know it on a biological level. So let's break down the anatomy of our little unwelcome guest. It's actually way more fascinating and a bit more complex than you might think.
Okay, first things first, Pulex irritans is an ectoparasite. Now that's a key distinction. It means it lives on you, not in you. It's feeding on your blood from the outside. It's also what's called nidicolous, which is just a great word that means it lives in the host's nest. So your bed, your carpets, your couch, instead of hanging out on you 24/7.
And you know, the name itself pretty much tells the whole story. When the legendary biologist Carl Linnaeus gave it a name way back in 1758, he did not mess around. Pulex is just Latin for flea, and irritans means, you guessed it, to irritate. So its scientific name literally means the irritating flea. I mean, talk about accurate. It's a description that has definitely stood the test of time.
So here's where it fits into the big picture of life. It's in the kingdom Animalia, which makes it a metazoan, a multicellular animal. Now this is actually super important from a clinical standpoint, because the kinds of treatments that work on single-celled protozoan parasites, they do absolutely nothing to a complex insect like this. You need a totally different strategy.
So, you're probably wondering, how can you tell this one apart from the cat and dog fleas we hear about all the time? Well, it all comes down to one single telltale feature. You have to look at its head. See, cat and dog fleas have these very distinct bristle-like structures. They're called combs. But Pulex irritans, it has absolutely no combs. It's the clean-shaven flea. And for the experts, that's the #1 way to identify it.
Now, listen to this because it's crucial. The adult flea that you actually see, the one that's biting you, that is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, it's a tiny fraction of the real problem. To understand an infestation, you have to understand its complex 4-stage life cycle. What's hiding in your home is so much more than what's on you.
This diagram here just shows the whole process perfectly. It's what scientists call a holometabolous life cycle, or basically a complete metamorphosis. The adult lays eggs, those eggs hatch into larvae. The larvae then spin a cocoon and become pupa, and finally, a new adult pops out. It's a continuous cycle, and it's all happening, completely unseen, in your environment.
Let's just walk through that real quick. The eggs, they're laid in the environment, not on you. Then they hatch into these little worm-like larvae that munch on organic stuff, like the dried blood that adult fleas leave behind. Then that larva spins a sticky, camouflaged cocoon and becomes a pupa. In this pupal stage, this is where things get really, really interesting. The whole cycle can be over in a few weeks, or it can take much, much longer.
Yep, 1 year. That's not a typo. An adult flea can stay dormant, totally safe and protected inside its little cocoon for up to an entire year. It just waits. And what's it waiting for? The right trigger. A vibration, a little warmth, or the carbon dioxide you breathe out. The second a potential meal walks by, boom, it emerges, hungry and ready to go. This is exactly why an infestation can seem to pop up out of thin air in a house that's been empty for months.
So this creature's story, it isn't just biological. It's also historical. Pulex irritans is a true global traveler, and its journey is completely tied up with our own. So how did it get from its original home all the way to pretty much every corner of the globe?
Well, the latest research suggests that the human flea didn't start with humans at all. It actually originated in South America. Its first hosts were probably animals like guinea pigs or peccaries, but at some point it made the jump to people. And then, well, it hitched a ride with us as we explored, traded, and colonized the entire planet.
And this table really shows its status today. It's still endemic or commonly found in its home turf of South America. In a lot of agricultural areas in Africa and Asia, it's pretty common. But then you look at a place like the Netherlands. In the cities, it's become quite rare. There, its main host is actually the red fox. And as those foxes start moving into suburban areas, they can bring the fleas with them.
creating a bridge to our pets and then to our homes. Okay, so we know what it is, we know how it lives, and we know where it came from. Now, let's get to the most important part. What in the world do you do about it? How do you know for sure that it's a flea bite, and how do you actually fight back effectively?
The symptoms are pretty classic. You get these intensely itchy red bumps, and are often in these weird lines or little clusters where the flea was sort of test biting. That crazy itch is actually an allergic reaction to proteins in the flea's saliva. And if you look really close, you can sometimes see a tiny little red dot right in the middle of the bite. The biggest danger here, honestly, is that all that scratching can break the skin and lead to a nasty secondary bacterial infection.
So here's the most critical thing to understand for prevention. 95% of the flea population, all the eggs, the larvae, the pupae, they are in your environment. So your absolute best weapon is intense, frequent vacuuming. It literally sucks up all the life stages, and the vibrations can even trigger those dormant pupae to hatch so you can get them too. Laundering everything in hot water is also huge, along with treating your pets and making sure wildlife can't set up camp under your house.
To really get rid of them, you need a two-pronged attack. You absolutely have to target the adult fleas that are on the host, so on your pets, using things called adulticides. But at the exact same time, you have to break that life cycle in the environment. And you do that with something called insect growth regulators, or IGRs. These basically stop the eggs and larvae from ever growing up. You have to do both or you'll never win.
You know, we might think of fleas as this sort of problem from a bygone era, but this ancient pest is still evolving and adapting right along with us. So, what does the future hold for our long and very itchy relationship with Pulex irritans?
Well, the latest scientific research is pretty clear on this one. As our climate continues to warm up, the areas that are suitable habitat for Pulex irritans are predicted to expand northward. Think about it. Warmer winters mean more of those pupae survive. This could easily lead to a big comeback for the human flea in places where it's pretty rare right now, like Scandinavia and northern Russia.
And as always, we want you to be able to dig in for yourself. All of the information in this explainer was compiled using a Gemini deep search. You can find a complete, detailed list of all the scientific papers and sources we used right in the Notebook LM document that's linked in the description.
Which really leaves us with one final, pretty thought-provoking question. We've managed to push this pest to the very margins of our modern clean world. But as that world changes, as it gets warmer, have we accidentally created the perfect conditions for this ancient irritant to make a major comeback?
What do you think about that? Let us know down in the comments. And hey, if you've ever had a run-in with this particular flea, we would love to hear that story. If you found this explainer interesting, make sure you subscribe for more deep dives into the world all around us. Thanks so much for watching.